Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? You may notice we kind of switched up the background a little bit. I'm facing a different angle because since I'm wearing my glasses today, I want to try to minimize the glare from outside as much as possible, and this is the best situation for that. I know that there still is some, and there's my cat, but hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction and we can still just enjoy this video. Today I'm going to be doing a review of The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is a novel that I literally just finished about a half hour ago. I finished it over at my local bookstore, and I just came home and I decided I wanted to film a video. When I mentioned this book on Goodreads, a lot of you were very intrigued and interested, wanting to know my thoughts, and I definitely have some thoughts about this book. And so this is going to be, for the most part, I think, spoiler free. I'm not going to try to give too much of anything away, but you guys know when I do my reviews, I like to also put in a little bit of a discussion. So if at any point I feel like I am going to give away something, I'll let you guys know. But this overall will just be a spoiler free review discussion video. So this novel follows three different perspectives. We follow who I consider to be the main character, even though it is a multiple perspective view, and obviously your opinion may differentiate on that. Then we follow a boy named Jack, and then a girl named PK. Her name is actually Claire. PK is a nickname for her, and they're all in high school, and this is a very interesting novel because it's kind of hard to put in a particular genre. It's kind of a contemporary high school story in the way that it is set. However, with the events that take place, it's also kind of like a mystery thriller kind of novel. It's very unique and very of its own. But we mainly follow Alex's story, and Alex is just a very different, very peculiar girl, and you find out pretty soon that the reason that she is the way that she is because her sister has died, and she died in an absolutely horrific way. Like perhaps one of the most intensely grotesque, just awful things that I have read. And obviously Alex, being her sister, has a lot of emotions from this, and we find out that Alex has done some things to sort of avenge this death. And as we go along in the novel, I really got the sense that she suffers from some sort of a mental disability, and that is why she makes the decisions that she does, why she chooses to act upon certain things that maybe most people wouldn't, at least not in the way that she does. And so really this novel kind of focuses on this story, and it focuses on how this event shapes the life of Alex, but also shapes the life of those around her, and just this entire town in general. It's also sort of a love story. Like I said, we follow this boy named Jack, and he starts to develop a real interest in Alex. We start to see their relationship evolve, and PK, who I mentioned earlier, becomes a really good friend to Alex. So they're all sort of in the same friend group. They're all connected in different ways, and the story itself spans a year in which we get to see all these different events take place in these three characters' lives and in the lives of people around them. But this novel definitely has some very strong themes dealing with rape culture, gender inequality, some other sort of feminist themes, as well as I think there is a lot in here about, as I mentioned earlier, sort of mental disabilities. And I thought that the way that this book handles this is extremely unique. So I finished this shortly after I finished Asking for It by Louise O'Neill, which is another sort of like young adult you know, rape culture discussion sort of book. I find it to be interesting the way that, you know, these books sort of handle this really, really intense topic, and how authors are able to take this theme and put it in an easily digestible way that is marketed towards, again, young adults. With Asking for It, it's definitely, you know, it's very blunt, it's very to the point. You are inside one character's head the whole time, and she's the victim of the assault, so it's a completely different take than something like this. This is a lot more subtle. A lot of the discussion, the themes, sort of, you know, what the author's trying to get across, a lot of times happens within dialogue between the characters, which I think is interesting because the characters become self-aware of the problems themselves, and then obviously you as the reader can see what's going on. But it just is, the writing style of this is just different from anything I've ever read. It's extremely raw, very original, it's very honest, and I just can't quite describe it. The writing is just so different. It's very profound, it's very it's definitely a writing style that makes you think, but just these themes in this story is just executed so perfectly. And I just know that this is one of those books that's really going to stick with me, and I'm having almost a hard time describing it because it's just very unique. I have never read a book like this, and it's definitely for the best because this is an absolutely amazing novel that I think you guys should go pick up. I think it will suit a lot of different readers with different tastes, because if, you know, some novels about, you know, rape culture and that kind of stuff is maybe a bit too intense for you, which I can understand. Obviously, there's a lot of sort of like triggering things in these types of novels. This is done in a way where that is definitely a main focus, but we have so many other things going on. Like I said, we sort of have this evolving friendship, we have this evolving relationship, we have kind of like this thriller side to it, this sort of mystery. I think this is just a novel that would really capture the attention of a bunch of different readers, no matter what kind of genre you like to read, no matter what themes and books you look for. And I just think that this is one of those books that I think anybody can read it and they can get something out of it and they can really, really enjoy it. And there are spots in this book, if I have to give, one fault, there are different parts that kind of seem to be a little bit slower. We're kind of waiting for something to happen. It is definitely a very kind of like dramatic book, and so sometimes going through those parts can feel a little bit slow, but they really don't happen often, and then whatever happens afterwards is totally worth kind of waiting for. But the ending just completely blew me away. Reading the book and reading Alex's struggles, the things that she's done, her sort of mindset, you know that something is probably going to have to happen here, but it took such a different direction than what I expected. And this is definitely one of those books too that even now as I sit and I kind of digest everything that I just read, there's just so much to think about in this. There's so many little things that happen, and there's just the way that these characters are written is just beautiful. We got flawed, nuanced, amazing characters who aren't perfect by any means, some of which are definitely more lovable than others, but they're so realistic. Like these are, to me, these are kids in high school that I can like totally get behind, that I'm like, yes, like this makes sense. I seriously cannot recommend this enough. I obviously gave it a 5-star rating. I just think it is so, so good. There's honestly so much, especially if we want to get into the spoiler section, stuff that I can say about this, because this just completely took me by surprise. It was so different than what I expected, especially because we got like this bright yellow green cover with like all these cute little animals. It just is one of those books that like when you look at it, it's what's on the inside is completely different than this. It's dark, it's twisted, it's raw, it's just so, so amazing, and I cannot recommend this enough. I hope that this gave you guys like a pretty good idea. This is a very hard book to describe, and if you read it, you will figure out why, but I highly recommend that you guys pick it up and give it a try, because it is definitely one of those books that will hook you right in as soon as you start reading it, and when you get to the end, your entire view will just be shifted. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.